I have a friend who has a very interesting hobby. He plays chess, but in a very unique way. He has this chess software on his PC, and this chess software on his PC is connected to the cloud, where they have this ginormous database of all the chess games ever played in any tournament. So he'll load up a game from like the 1800s between a couple of Russian grandmasters and imagine that he's watching them play in real time. And he imagines that one of them is coaching him, asking him what moves he should make, explaining why he makes the moves that he does make. There's a problem-solving technique called borrowed genius. It's useful when you have a problem but you don't know what a solution might be. You close your eyes and you start walking. And while you are walking with your eyes closed, you explain the problem out loud. You talk about the problem out loud. You discuss the problem out loud. And then you imagine that while you're walking and talking about the problem out loud, you're getting closer and closer to an ideal genius that can help you solve the problem, either a historical genius or a fictional genius. And then right when you get behind them, you switch heads with them. And you keep talking before and after you switch heads. And so after you switch heads, you're still talking about the problem, but now you have the head and the brain of your ideal genius. One of my favorite TV shows is 6 Feet Under. It's a well-written drama about a dysfunctional family that owns a funeral home. And frequently dead people show up and talk to them, but they aren't ghosts. They are just imagined dead people by the characters in the story. So the characters in the story can imagine ideas coming from a different part of their brain, but they externalize a hallucinated dead person to transmit that information through. There was this scientist working on a marketing device. It was for a company that had a lot of government contracts, and so they had a lot of government money. So the scientist had a lot of leeway in the different experiments he could try. He had this idea that all problems have similar neurological structures, that if you look at all of the problems that all humans have ever had, there'll only be a couple of dozen different neurological metastructures. And the corresponding solutions to all the problems will have similarly structured neurological metastructures. And he spent a lot of time configuring both the problem states and the solution states. His theory was that when a neurological problem state meets with a neurological solution state, it creates a kind of exothermic reaction, just like in chemistry. You can have two atoms existing separately, but then when they join together, the energy they need to join together is less than they needed to exist separately. And that extra energy is given off in an exothermic chemical reaction. This is why when we're thinking about a problem for a long time and we finally come across a solution, we get that burst of emotional aha energy. That's the exothermic reaction. After he cataloged all the structures of the problem states and he cataloged all the structures of the solution states, then he built the machine. Once you hooked the machine up, all you had to do was focus on the problem state. That would activate the neurological structure in your brain, any problem at all. And within seconds, the solution state would suddenly link in with the problem state. You would get that aha energy, the exothermic mental reaction, and you would get the solution instantly delivered to your brain. This was a device that would allow any human to solve any problem that they could conceive of. Mathematical problems, physics problems, quantum gravity problems, time travel problems, wormhole creation problems. Needless to say, the government didn't ever want to let this see the light of day. Some of the greatest wisdom can come from imaginary dead people, especially if you can hallucinate dead people and then use those hallucinated dead people to get access to other parts of your brain. You can also start typing out your problem and then imagine the fictional or historical super genius is creeping up behind you while you're typing out your problem. And then they swap heads with you instead of you swapping heads with them, but the end result will be the same. You'll keep typing your problem, but because you have their head and their brain, you'll probably find a solution. My friend says he likes to pretend that he's sitting next to an imaginary grandmaster, and the imaginary grandmaster is asking him which moves he should make in response to the other player, who's also imaginary. My friend thinks about it and then makes a guess. If he's right, the imaginary grandmaster congratulates him If he's wrong, the imaginary grandmaster explains why. This is a great way to learn. Most people don't realize the power of purposeful hallucination, but you can hallucinate anybody you want to tell you anything you need.